like his rock star lifestyle thing, what he was doing. It's almost like, look, not a lot of people get a chance to do this.
Yep.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah, one time when we were working on his book, he said, I go home to Pasadena now and then where born and raised, and some of his high school buddies see me like, well, Dave, must be nice, being David Lee Roth. And he said, you know what? On graduation day from high school, we all were on the same starting blocks. You chose the bank job. That's a sure thing. You're going to die in that cubicle. I choose, and he said, to sail the seas of consequence. I was like, I love that.
But, I see on Facebook, all my friends, they're doctors, they're lawyers. They were the type of people that were, almost guaranteed, their fathers were doctors and lawyers. They
did it right.
They were just being groomed for material success.
Yes.
So most of the kids in my school just went lockstep into the whole thing. Yeah, I'm going to finish college. I'm going to finish high school. I'm going to go to a good college. I'm going to get a good job. I'm going to make a lot of money. And that's what life is all about. But, from the time I was a teenager, I'm hearing all these bands and they're all saying, that's not what life is all about. Like money isn't everything. Money and greed and stuff is what's killing the planet, and there's other ways to live, and it's all about community, and it's all about even like 7 seconds, it's all about love and trust and community. And so immediately I kind of like, when the rest of my school went this way in a very kind of like materialistically successful way, I went this way. I was like, that stuff's not important. There's more to life than just that. Yep. And instead of going this way, I'm going to go this way.
Yep.
And I might have never been a devotee or been into spirituality if I didn't get that kind of heavy dose of anti-materialism from all those early punk bands and hardcore bands that I was listening to.
I guess this kind of begs the question. Do you ever feel, because I see a lot of people on social media and they got this pristine life and they got the polo shirts and, the white picket fence and the 2.5 kids and stuff, it's like, do you ever feel, and let's just say hypothetically, you did find Krishna consciousness along the way. Do you ever feel any maybe regret that you didn't pursue a path like that?
Not really. I joined the temple in my early 20s. And then I was a brahmachari for 5 years. So I sort of left the temple and then got married. And I think I was like 29 years old. And, it's so daunting. The only thing I had ever done since I was 16 was be in a band. I never really had a real job besides whatever kind of job that I had, when I was a kid in high school.
Yeah.
And had no resume. What am I going to do? I'm 30 years old. I have zero resume. So, that was challenging, but whatever, you just kind of, I don't regret it. That was some of the best years of my life.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people, I think a lot of people look at hardcore and punk rock guys with a certain shred of envy, those kind of people that were kind of in lockstep with whatever their families want for them, because I feel like there's a part of them that sometimes wishes maybe they had taken that route, because then you get locked into those familial type situations and you don't have a lot of wiggle room in order to do the things that maybe you wanted to do when you were younger.
Well, I was in New York City. God, this was probably 3 years ago or something, 2 or 3 years ago. And I saw one of the people that I went to school with, someone that was in my grade, that was in a lot of my classes. And he was like, so what do you do? I was like, I'm still doing bands. I'm a yoga teacher. I was like, what do you do? He's like, oh, I'm a lawyer. I work at this law firm and everything. It was just and I kind of felt for a second there, I felt oh man, what have I done with my life? This guy's you could just tell he's in the suit. He must have had a Porsche or whatever. This guy is a player. You could just tell. Yep. He is rich and successful lawyer. And he just goes to me. He's just yeah, I'm so like, you've had such a great life. Like, just from what I've been following, just through whatever, like, the internet about your life. He's like, man, he's like, I'm this lawyer and I go to work every day. And it's not like he's like, it's not like I'm passionate about it. He's like, I make money, but it's almost like at this point, it's just like, I don't even want to go to work. And I've done it for decades. And it's not like I enjoy it. And you just had this life where kind of like your passion, you followed your passions and you get to do all this stuff that you love. And I think that's so cool. And like, here's this guy envious of me. This guy's got everything, God knows how he's probably living on Central Park West, and so it kind of knocked that out of my mind that, oh, wow, I've wasted my life. Look at this guy. You have to remember that really what your life is about is your contribution. And you could be very wealthy. I know people that are super wealthy and they've made an incredible impact in other people's life. It's not like being wealthy disqualifies you from making a contribution. I know people that are super wealthy that use their money in incredible ways. One example I can think of is, I don't know do you know Sachi Sutta, who runs Equal Vision?
Oh yeah, Steve. Yeah.
Yeah, Steve.
Yeah.
And now he does that merchandise company, Merch Now. And
that's right.
I don't know if you know it, but Merch Now is like one of the hugest merchandising companies practically in the Northeast.
Wow.
Like he's a multi-millionaire many times over. And it's so inspiring because he's a devotee and he understands my life is all about my contribution. So he's constantly helping people, and he's super charitable, and it's just like the amount of and he's just like, I've made my money now. I just want to help other people. And I know a lot of people that are like that are rich devotees, and they just get it, and they use their money in so many wonderful ways.
Sure.
And it's not like being rich disqualifies you from making a contribution.
Absolutely.
You could have lesser means, and your life could also be about contribution. But you fall into the trap when it's about chasing money. It's all about just kind of like building something for yourself, and that can seem very small and unsatisfying. So it's really just about how you can make a really like a spiritual impact in this world, and how what good can you do for other people. That's what's really going to make you happy, not having money and having this job that makes you a lot of money, and then for 2 weeks of the year you go on some vacation in the Bahamas, and you drive a nice car that you think impresses other people, but actually people don't care.
Yeah.
And a lot of people fall into that trap, and then they get older and they're just like, man, what have I done with my life?
Yep. 100%.